NRCS's EQIP program is an acronym EQIP that stands for Environmental Quality Incentive. Essentially, this program was founded in the early 90s when the Farm Bill was passed, and NRCS now had federal dollars to administer for conservation through our programs.
The object of the conservation program through NRCS is to help the producers have a sustainable operation. Our nation is no stronger than our soils, and our number one goal is to provide productive, healthy soils for our agricultural producers across the land.
In Louisiana, we often refer to our EQIP program as a cost-sharing program. What that basically means is that we have funds that we can administer through a contract that you as a producer agree to do the practices. And once the practice is complete, you get the set amount of money that's in that contract. A lot of times it's not 100% cost share. A lot of the times it's more like a 75 or 80% cost share where when you pencil it out, you know, our cost share may be 80% of what it actually costs you to put it in. But it's that incentive that if you wouldn't have had that 80% cost share, you may or may not have done that on your own. NRCS's number one goal is technical assistance. We are considered the technical experts in our field of agriculture, especially when it comes to grazing. So we're looking at grazing management, water development, forage quality, health, and animal health. But on top of that, with the EQIP program, NRCS provides not only the technical assistance, but financial assistance to implement these practices.
That's what we're looking for as producers, is the technical assistance. We need the technical help. We know what we want to accomplish. Obviously, cost share is a benefit, but we're looking for that practical, technical, boots on the ground assistance that helps us get from point A to point B in these development processes.
So the first step in order to get started with EQIP would be to visit your local Soil and Water Conservation District and NRCS office. Typically, it all starts with that first visit or a first phone call to the office, and we'll usually do a follow-up in a short amount of time to come out to your place and actually tour your place with you to identify other concerns that you may have not thought of. And then we can start a conservation plan at that point.
We have hundreds of practices available for producers through the EQIP program.
The EQIP projects that we did here, they really tie right into what our mission statement is here as a dairy. We want to be economically sustainable along with ecologically sustainable, which allows the conservation that's done on the land to have an impact for a long time. By cost sharing the development of these infrastructures really helped our capital investment dollar go farther to other things. We didn't have to put as much out-of-pocket funds into the development of the conservation practices. Those cost benefits just continue to multiply year over year, which makes the long-term sustainability really a beautiful thing that comes with these EQIP practices.
So if a producer wants to apply for financial assistance, there is some paperwork involved.
Once we finish the site visit, we verify that they have the records updated with the Farm Service Agency, and what that entails is they are listed as the operator of the land if they're not the owner. Complete the adjusted gross income forms, the 902 FSA eligibility forms, and then we move forward.
It all starts with FSA, the Farm Service Agency, getting your farm and track recognized and in the system as a farm number and a track number. And for financial assistance, we have some different eligibility criteria that comes into play. Number one, the land must be eligible, so it must be a grazing unit to be qualified for grazing assistance. Number two, the personal eligibility factors come into play, which each one of our offices can help work you through that particular eligibility that will be required. We have a couple of different subcategories. With that kind of category, it is feasible for us to offer you an advance payment to implement conservation practices.
I would say for anyone who's considering utilizing EQIP resources, if you're in that category, those benefits are even multiplied greater. So you'd want to take that into consideration as you're considering that.
Our EQIP program is competitive in the fact that, you know, we have federal dollars that will be administered to participants that apply for the assistance. We identify what those resource concerns are for that local area, and we put a point value to that. So for instance, if you're in a local area where the resource concern is more weighted for soil erosion, and your application is to address soil erosion, it's more likely that you'll be in the top portion to get picked for funding because you're addressing that identified resource concern. And that identified resource concern really comes from the local level in that local community, that they identify that to NRCS, and then we work that into our system to make it unique for that particular area. We as NRCS and our job as conservation planners, our job is to plan these items out in a way that you don't have to complete all of them in the first 6 months of being awarded a contract. We try and work with you to identify what your particular time frame is and what you would like to start with first, and then go from there. So as one thing gets implemented, we make a reimbursable payment for our cost share, and then you can move on to the next project. But typically 3 to 6 years is a good average time frame of how long a typical contract should last.
From our perspective, the process of working with NRCS was very smooth. Obviously, a producer's going to work with his local district office. We've been fortunate to be able to work with Jason and his team through the whole thing.
When practices are installed, we have to go check that practice out. We have to make sure that it meets our standard and specifications that were outlined to you in the contract in order to receive payment. All of our practices have what we call a lifespan. It's just the fact that we engineer these practices to be designed to last the length of that lifespan. Once a contract is completed, all the practices are implemented on the farm. NRCS basically walks away unless you have another concern for us that we can help you with. But at the end of the day, you implement the contract, it's your place, those are your practices, and we are there for support after that if you need us, or if new concerns arise, we can come in and address different concerns on your land.
Keep an open mind when you apply for the EQIP program. Listen to the NRCS conservationists that's working with you. They're gonna give you some options, not only what you think you might want to do, but we got options we're gonna offer you that might be a little different than your initial goal, but it might be something that would be better for you long term.
If there's a concern that you have, or you're just interested in just a little bit of technical assistance, whether it be a grazing plan to know, what should your stocking rate be? Maybe that's something you haven't thought about before. NRCS is a one-stop shop that can help you with the technical, or we can combine that with the financial assistance to help cost share some of these practices.